Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video right here on Solana. We're going to do a full update. Wanted to give you a little bit of an idea or an update on what has happened over the last couple of days, and then we will talk about next week and what to expect going into that, and some general remarks on the current situation for Solana as well. So let's get right into it. First of all, to start off, my apologies. First of all, to start off with a brief recap of my last video. I think that was 2 days ago. So then the price was still holding firmly right here at 139, but we could already see the writing on the wall that generally when we're talking about Solana is not incredibly strong right now. It is consolidating. I think it's bottoming, but bottoming is certainly not rallying up, and it also takes some time to form a bottom very often. So back then we already saw that fake out right here above the critical resistance level we have at 144, retest below that, and just generally the market seemed a little bit more favorable for bears. So we pushed down lower, which by the way was also the structure for Solana, right? I mean, Solana has been consolidating now between 144 and 126 since the middle of November. And whenever you have a market structure in place, which it's very clear that we do have a market structure in place, it's always best to assume that that market structure is going to hold. Right, market structures change when fundamentals change, or like when we get news, but also when things get priced in differently. So if Bitcoin starts to price something in very differently, such as the interest rate decision next week or something, then we can move up as well. But we've had no event of the sorts, and we also have had no specific momentum for Solana right here. Solana did actually, which I thought was quite interesting. The Solana ETF actually had inflows last week. Tuesday we had some major inflows, as you can see, and then Thursday and Friday we had inflows. We had inflows totaling about $65 million, and then we had outflows totaling about $45 million. So there were inflows, there were outflows, but net we had about $15 million of inflows. So that's pretty good, but outside of that, there's no specific momentum for Solana. So based on that only, based on the fundamentals, I would say it's most likely we will remain relatively stable here, right? So that's between this area right here at 126 with the trend line sitting at 129. So that serves as, I would say, the primary support. And then 144, the 1.5 years point of control or something. At 140, yeah, so that's at 144. I think it's most likely will stay in this level. However, I do think that there's a couple of things that you do need to be aware of going into next week. Like I said, we have the interest rate next week, Wednesday. That's going to be very volatile. And first of all, second of all, it also brings about some de-risking quite often, especially when it's uncertain what we're going to get. And at this point of time, we have an 86% chance at a rate cut, but a 14% chance, as you can see, of no rate cut. That is still uncertain. It's almost certain that we're going to get a rate cut. It's not completely certain. And then outside of that, when I look at Ethereum, when I look at Bitcoin, to talk about correlation between those two and Solana, I think it's a little bit more likely to get some sort of a flush down. So generally, I do expect this range to hold, but I think short term, you should be ready for something like this. I would actually say this is quite likely. I wouldn't trade because of it, or I wouldn't short because I think this is most likely. I would potentially long this if it happens, by the way, if there's no bad news causing it. But something like this I do think is quite likely, testing those lows, testing the buyer conviction, reclaiming the trend, moving back up to 138, 139, where we have the points of control of the previous price action. So that always works as a bit of a magnet. And then eventually I do expect us to break out, right? I do still expect that breakout. It's just waiting for some sort of an indication, either fundamentally or technically, for us to say, okay, now we're going to break out. And at the moment, that's not here. So that is what I think you need to know. I mean, I'm going over my thoughts right now. We have clear balance here. I think from this balance it's most likely we are going to test some previous balances higher. So I'm definitely still expecting that, but it's just it's like, in the end, it's what I said. Bottoms take some time to form, and I think right now we are still in the process of forming the bottom, and not in the process of breaking out and getting a relief rally. Those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, everybody. Take care. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday, and bye.